The mahogany-paneled law office smelled of old leather and polished deceit, the kind of place where fortunes were carved up like holiday roasts. I sat there, flanked by my siblings, Elena, the eldest with her perpetual air of entitlement, and Victor, the middle child who'd mastered the art of playing victim while dipping into everyone's pockets. Our parents' estate attorney, Mr. Hargrove, adjusted his wire-rimmed glasses, clearing his throat as if announcing a verdict. The will reading was supposed to be a formality, a somber closure to Mom and Dad's passing 6 months prior from that tragic car accident. But as Hargrove unfolded the document, I sensed the storm brewing. Family, in my experience, turns feral when money's on the table. Blood ties become battle lines. Before we proceed, Elena interjected, her voice sharp as a stiletto, there's something we need to address. She stood, smoothing her designer blouse, glancing at Victor for backup. He nodded, his face a mask of feigned reluctance. The room's antique clock ticked louder in the silence. Hargrove paused, eyebrows raised. This is irregular, Ms. Rivera. Elena ignored him, turning to me with that condescending smile she'd perfected over decades. Jordan, we've discussed this as a family. We've voted, and you're no longer an heir. It's unanimous. Voted. The word hit like a slap. Victor chimed in. You've been selfish, hoarding your success while we struggled. Mom and Dad would agree. It's for the best. Unanimous. Hargrove shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. The other attendees, our Aunt Clara, a distant cousin, and the executor's assistant, murmured approvals, Aunt Clara even clapping softly as if this were a boardroom coup. My blood boiled. Selfish? I'd been the one wiring money for Victor's business ventures, that never panned out, covering Elena's alimony gaps after her messy divorce. But I didn't erupt. Not yet. Interesting, I said, my tone even though my mind raced. A family vote without the family member in question. Democratic, I suppose. I reached into my satchel, the one I'd brought anticipating some twist. Call it paranoia honed from years of sibling sleight of hand. Then you won't need this. I placed a worn leather ledger on the table, its thud echoing like a gavel. Elena's eyes narrowed. What's that? Some dramatic prop. Open it, I replied, leaning back. Find out. Victor snatched it, flipping pages with aggressive curiosity. His smirk faded as he scanned the entries. Elena peered over, her face paling to match the office's cream walls. This is forgery, she stammered, but her voice cracked. Hargrove leaned forward. May I? He took the ledger, his expression shifting from neutral to alarmed. These are copies of estate documents, loan records. Good Lord. Let me rewind, because betrayals like this don't sprout overnight. They're nurtured in the soil of resentment and greed. Our parents built a modest empire, a chain of boutique hotels in coastal towns, worth about $8 million at their peak. Dad was the visionary, Mom the accountant who kept it afloat through recessions. I was the youngest, the practical one, as they called me. Left home at 18, bootstrapped my way through engineering school, started a tech firm specializing in sustainable energy solutions. Success came slow, but it came. My company EcoForge hit 7 figures last year. Elena and Victor? They rode the family wave. Elena married into money, divorced out of it, always expecting bailouts. Victor chased get-rich schemes, crypto flops, failed startups, borrowing from the estate temporarily. I'd loaned them personally over $450,000 in the past decade, never pressing for repayment because, well, family. In my opinion, that's the trap. Blood makes you blind to entitlement. They saw my independence as arrogance, my refusals as selfishness. The real rot started after Dad's first heart scare 5 years back. Elena pushed for power of attorney, citing my busy life. I discovered later they'd amended the will quietly, siphoning loans from the hotels for personal use. Mom confided in me once, teary-eyed. They're draining us, Jordan. I started documenting then, scanned checks, email threads, bank statements. The ledger was my insurance policy. $1.2 million in undocumented loans to Elena for her lifestyle maintenance. $800,000 to Victor for investments that vanished. Forged signatures on property deeds. Even a secret mortgage on the family home to fund Elena's yacht club membership. It was all there, time-stamped and notarized copies included. Back in the office, chaos unfolded. Victor slammed the ledger shut. You spied on us? This is invasion of privacy. Invasion, I countered. This is evidence of theft. Mom and Dad's legacy, funneled into your pockets. Elena rounded on Hargrove. He's lying. Those are fabricated. The attorney shook his head. These match records I've seen. If true, this voids the amendments. The original will stand, equal shares. Aunt Clara gasped. You borrowed from the estate? Without telling us. Victor pointed at me. He's the one twisting facts. Always the golden child, hoarding his tech millions while we scraped by. Scraped by? With luxury cars and vacations on estate dime? In my view, entitlement is a disease. It convinces you that others' hard work is your birthright. Scraped by on my loans, you mean? I said. The ones you never repaid. The room erupted. Elena screamed accusations. Jealous manipulator. Victor threatened lawsuits. Hargrove called for order, but I stood, gathering my things. You voted me out, I said, voice steady. Fine, but this ledger goes to probate court. Enjoy the audits. I walked out, the door clicking shut on their pandemonium. The cool lobby air hit me like freedom. I'd anticipated pushback, but the betrayal stung deeper than expected. Family isn't supposed to be a zero-sum game, but mine played it masterfully. The calls began that evening. Elena first, hysterical. Jordan, retract this. It's family business. I let it voicemail. Victor texted. You nuclear optioned us? Dad would be ashamed. Ashamed of protecting what he built. In my opinion, shame belongs to thieves, not whistleblowers. By morning, Hargrove emailed. Ledger verified preliminarily. Recommending full audit. Original will, equal division, but loans recoverable as debts. Equal. After their manipulations, I'd fight for restitution. The media sniffed it out. A local paper ran, sibling feud over hotel empire. Anonymous tips, no doubt from Elena's circle, painted me as the greedy outsider. But facts don't lie. My lawyer, a shark named Reyes, filed for injunctions freezing assets. Victor showed up at my office unannounced, disheveled. Bro, let's talk. We can split it quietly. Bro. The word curdled. No, I said. Court decides. Elena's pleas turned manipulative. Voicemails about mom's wishes. Texts guilting me with childhood memories. Aunt Clara called apologetic. I didn't know. You did right. At least one ally. Amid the storm, I focused on EcoForge. We landed a government contract for solar grids. Ironic, building sustainable futures while dismantling a toxic past. Personally, I started therapy, unpacking decades of overlooked slights. Runs along the beach cleared my head. I even began sketching plans for a self-sustained homestead away from city noise. In my perspective, inheritance isn't just money. It's legacy. Mine was tainted, but I'd forged my own. Relocation beckoned. A plot in the Pacific Northwest, off-grid living powered by my tech. But the betrayals escalated. February brought a countersuit. Elena and Victor claiming I'd forged the ledger. Evidence. Fabricated emails, poorly done. Reyes laughed it off, but it dragged on. March. Anonymous harassment, slashed tires, online smears. I installed security, documented everything. Victor's business associate approached me shady-like. Settle, or things get ugly. Threats. Amateur hour. By April, probate hearings loomed. Elena appeared in court tearful. He's destroying our family. The judge wasn't swayed. Audits confirmed the loans. Repayment orders issued. $2 million plus interest. Victor cracked first, settling privately. Half his share to me in exchange for dropping personal claims. Elena fought on, but cracks showed. Her assets seized, divorce rumors swirling. I sold my city condo, bought that Northwest land. Built a cabin with solar panels, rainwater systems, self-sustained, like my resolve. Yet closure eluded. A letter from Elena. Meet? For old times. Tempting, but traps often wear nostalgia's mask. The letter from Elena arrived like a venomous snake in sheep's clothing, tucked into a cream envelope with my name scrawled in her elegant, looping handwriting. The same script she'd used to forge Mom's signature on those estate loans. It was May 2026, 5 months after the will reading fiasco, and I just settled into my new cabin in the Pacific Northwest, far from the coastal haze of our family's hotel empire. The air here was crisp, scented with fur and damp earth, a world away from the polished deceit of Hargrove's office. I slit the envelope open on my porch, the morning sun glinting off the solar panels I'd installed myself. EcoForge tech, of course, Because why buy off the shelf when you can engineer your own independence? Dear Jordan, it began, all saccharine and scripted. I know things have been strained, but let's meet. For old time's sake. There's so much unsaid. Coffee. Your choice of place. No apology, no admission of guilt. Just the hook, dangling nostalgia like bait. In my opinion, that's the hallmark of manipulators. They weaponize sentiment when facts fail them. I crumpled it and tossed it into the compost bin. Old times? Like when she borrowed my college savings for her European jaunt, promising repayment that never came. No thanks. But ignoring it didn't make it vanish. The betrayals had only intensified since part 1 of this saga, morphing from overt accusations into an insidious web of legal and emotional guerrilla warfare. Probate court had become our battlefield, with Reyes, my lawyer, turning their countersuit into confetti. The audits confirmed everything. $2 million in misappropriated funds, plus interest accruing like mold on forgotten bread. Elena and Victor were ordered to repay, but they dragged their feet, filing appeals that clogged the system like hair in a drain. Victor settled quietly, forking over half his share, about $1.3 million after deductions, to avoid deeper scrutiny. He even sent a terse email. This squares us. Stay out of my life. Squares us? As if theft could be balanced like a ledger entry. In my view, accountability isn't a transaction, it's a reckoning. Elena, though, fought like a cornered animal. June brought her next volley. A motion claiming emotional distress, alleging I'd harassed the family with my fabricated evidence. Attached were affidavits from Aunt Clara, recanting her earlier support, and a hired psychologist opining on my vindictive personality. Vindictive? I'd call it vigilant. Reyes dismantled it in a hearing, presenting timestamps proving the document's authenticity. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with a gavel that echoed like thunder, fined Elena for frivolous filing. This court isn't a stage for sibling squabbles, she ruled. Watching Elena's face crumple in the courtroom feed, I attended virtually, no need to breathe their air. I felt a twinge, not pity, but the ghost of what family could have been. The harassment didn't stop at legalese. July heat waves mirrored the escalating pettiness. My new address leaked, courtesy of Victor's associates, I suspected, and packages arrived, anonymous letters accusing me of being a greedy orphan, wilted flowers symbolizing dead ties. One night, my security cams caught a figure tampering with the solar array. Minor damage, but enough to spike my adrenaline. Local police traced it to a PI Elena had hired, ostensibly for estate research. She denied involvement, but the restraining order I filed stuck. In my opinion, when people resort to shadows, it's because light exposes their rot. I upgraded my systems, motion sensors, encrypted backups of everything. Paranoia? Perhaps, but betrayal teaches caution. Amid the chaos, EcoForge thrived. We'd expanded into microgrid tech for remote communities, securing a $5 million grant from a green energy fund. I hired a small team, engineers who valued ethics over expedience, and we prototyped systems that could power entire villages off solar and wind. It was fulfilling, the kind of work that mends the soul after familial fractures. Personally, I dove deeper into therapy, unpacking layers of resentment I'd buried under achievement. My therapist, Dr. Elena, a pragmatic woman with a knack for cutting through bullshit, challenged me. Why did you enable them so long? Guilt, I admitted. The youngest child's curse, seeking approval through utility. She nodded. Reclaim that energy for yourself. I did. August weekends became adventures. Hiking the Cascades, kayaking crystalline lakes. I started a garden, tomatoes, herbs, berries. Nurturing life that didn't demand reciprocation. Even dated sporadically, a local artist named Mia whose sculptures echoed my tech designs. Functional yet beautiful. No drama, just genuine connection. It was liberating, this exile from expectation. But Elena's desperation peaked in September. A mediated settlement conference, court-ordered to unclog the probate backlog. We met via video, me in my cabin office, her in some sterile law firm with Victor lurking in the background. Reyes outlined terms. Full repayment, no contest to the original will, and a no-contact clause. Elena leaned into the camera, eyes rimmed red. Real tears or theatrics? Jordan, please. We're blood. Mom wouldn't want this division. Blood. The word curdled. Mom wanted fairness, I replied. Not her legacy funding your excesses. Victor interjected. You're sitting on millions from your company. Why hoard the estate too? Hoard. EcoForge was my sweat, not inheritance. In my view, success earned trumps entitlement claimed. Because you stole it, I said flatly. Repay or face liens. Elena's facade cracked. You self-righteous prick. Always the favorite, playing martyr while we suffered. Suffered? With estates footing their bills? Reyes cut in. Emotional appeals won't alter facts. The session ended in stalemate, but cracks showed. Elena's lawyer whispered furiously, likely advising settlement. October brought autumn rains and revelations. An insider tip from Hargrove's assistant. Elena was liquidating assets, her divorce finalized amid rumors of infidelity. Victor's latest venture collapsed under debt. The hotels, mismanaged in limbo, teetered on foreclosure. I could have gloated, but schadenfreude felt hollow. Instead, I offered a buyout. My share plus repayments in exchange for full ownership. Reyes drafted it clean. They bit. November's signing was anticlimactic. Documents exchanged digitally, no fanfare. I now controlled the chain, rebranding it Eco-Havens. Sustainable upgrades, solar roofs, ecotourism focus. Profits would fund community projects, not personal vices. Aunt Clara reached out contrite. I was swayed by Elena. Congrats on turning it around. Forgiveness? Tentative but earned. December holidays loomed, a test of resolve. Elena's final ploy, a Christmas card, photo of her new downsized apartment, note pleading. One dinner? For closure. Closure? Hers perhaps. I burned it in the fireplace, toasting marshmallows instead. Mia joined me for a quiet eve, wine, laughter, no ghosts. By January 2027, peace settled. Eco-Havens launched its first green retrofit, reviews glowing. Therapy graduated to maintenance. I slept without dreams of ledgers. Victor vanished into obscurity. Elena resurfaced on social media, peddling life coaching, ironic, given her track record. Reflecting now, inheritance betrayal isn't just about money. It's trust shattered, illusions stripped. In my opinion, family should elevate, not exploit. I emerged stronger, roots in soil I chose. The game ended. I won sovereignty. Yet, a February envelope echoed the past. Elena's handwriting again. One last ask. I opened it, ready to discard. Inside, a check, partial repayment with a note. Starting over. Sorry. A word, but a start. I deposited it, no reply. Healing, perhaps, begins in silence. Months later, EcoForge went public. Modest IPO, but solid. I donated shares to a family aid nonprofit, ironic twist. Mia and I traveled. Europe, but on my terms, no bailouts needed. If you're entangled in similar webs, remember. Evidence liberates, boundaries protect. I didn't just inherit. I reinvented. The saga closes, but life unfolds.